Welcome to the Morning Orchard Podcast, brought to you by Cherry Tree Cola. Visit www.drinkthemusic.com and get your Cherry Tree Cola today. The Morning Orchard is a live radio broadcast heard on Cherry Tree Radio at www.cherrytreeradio.com every Friday at 9 a.m. with rebroadcasts Fridays at 6 p.m. and Sundays at 9 a.m. and 6 p.m. You can click over to the Cherry Tree Records website at cherrytreerecords.com to join the community for live chats, exclusive content, and information about all things Cherry Tree. Today's podcast is from August 9th, 2013. Joining us live in studio, the co-writer of the hit song Wake Me Up and co-founder of the band Incubus, Michael Einziger.
Welcome, everybody, to the Morning Orchard, right here from the offices of Cherry Tree Records in Santa Monica, California. We still here, Andrea?
Yeah, we are. We
Right.
still reside
Thank
there.
you. My name is Martin,
Andrea.
Scott. Tony.
Kelvin.
and we have a very special guest with us today, Mike Einziger.
Yay!
I thought you would say Mike because we do the whole. Let's do it again. I'm Martin.
Andrea.
Scott.
Tony.
Wait,
Oh.
Tony, you got to turn on the guest
There we
mic.
go.
Hello.
Check. There we go.
Welcome, Mike, to the Morning Orchard. How are you?
I'm waking up.
Yeah.
This is nice.
Yeah, you got
No pun intended, actually.
You got a really good example of how the show works.
Right there.
Yeah, very. It's like an old car.
Hey, he
Oh.
Exactly.
We have an accident.
Already. It's already
Scott, are you okay?
What's that?
Car accident. Spilled.
Scott
not
was
Friday.
out last night, didn't sleep, came straight to the show, stumbling over his mic. Where were you last night, Scott?
Down at the Staples Center.
Oh, really?
What are you doing there? There's a young boy band I was checking out named One Direction.
You went to
Nice.
that?
1D. Woo.
I heard of them.
It wasn't even a golf clap for 1D. That's right.
You know, they're doing 4 nights down at the Staples Center. I
Wow.
wanted to go check it out.
Anyway, listen, for those of you that don't know, Mike Einziger is a founding member of Incubus, but also an accomplished composer, performer, producer, writer, and the co-composer of a massive hit right now around the world called "Wake Me Up" by Avicii featuring Aloe Blacc. So
Which is an amazing
that
song.
deserves a round of
if you
applause.
haven't
Yeah. Oh, that got more applause than 1D.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not really the 1D crowd here.
You didn't even get my joke like 30 seconds ago.
Well, I'll get it on the replay though. I'll
Okay.
hear it. What was your joke?
Well, when you asked me, do you remember when you asked me how I was doing?
yes.
What did
you
I
said,
say?
You said that you were just waking up, right? Wake me up.
You get it now.
Martin would
So
get that
good.
on the
Wow,
He's
that is-
smart like that, Mike.
That
You know?
humor's too highbrow for the Orchard.
Oh man, we can't wait to catch up with you and find out all the stuff you've been doing musically, and also I want to hear about the genesis of this song. It's kind of a crazy pairing, or maybe you, Avicii, and Aloe Blacc were always friends, and mininiature golfing at Sherman Oaks, and I don't know.
Did you guys grow up together?
No.
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 Have you ever met?
Amazing.
Not up until recently.
Right.
But they're great
Well,
guys.
let me ask you a question. Was it the first time you met that you wrote that song?
No. It was
Okay.
well, actually, with Aloe, yeah. Actually,
Wow.
I met Aloe that day, and that was the first. That was our first attempt at doing anything together.
What a crazy story.
So yeah, really cool. But that was, and it actually was the first attempt that Tim Avicii and I made at writing something together also. So yeah, that was the first thing that we wrote together. But Tim and I had gotten together a couple times prior to that, so that wasn't the first time we had interaction with each other, but it really was the first time we did any kind of writing.
I can't wait to hear the details on that. And also, we want to hear about, because you grew up around here, want to
Yeah,
hear about Incubus. We got a lot, so stay tuned. But I think first we're going to go over the news, right? News for the week, Andrea?
Oh, okay.
Well, I don't want to disappoint you. You researched it for so long
I do. I spend many
that you want to
an
deliver the
hour
news here at Cherry Tree
on
Records.
this. Many parts.
What do you got for us? You got the theme song, Tony?
Oh,
For
yeah.
the news?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
I can't.
There
Very
you go.
good. Thank
I
you.
never can tell if it's really being played or someone's just doing it over their mic.
That's
Anyways.
MNEK. Sounds
I
very
know.
different than Scott.
Yeah, no, I was here when he recorded.
Let's do it one more time. Ready?
All right.
News theme song. What do you think of that, Mike?
What is that?
It's
Exactly.
it's our news theme song,
Yeah.
obviously.
Obviously. Well, Lollapalooza was last weekend, and actually Martin attended from the Cherry Tree
So much
team.
fun.
Nice.
We had many artists play. We had Ellie Goulding, who played the main stage. She played last year on a smaller stage.
Craziest show I've ever seen Ellie Goulding
She had
do.
one of the
It
biggest
was
crowds of the whole
insane.
weekend.
Insane. It was
We had Jessie Ware, Disclosure, and Deep Valley as well.
yeah. And we had Ivy Levon play
Oh, right.
a party that
Not
VH1 hosted
Yeah.
in Chicago.
So, yeah, which
Yeah.
she killed it, of course.
Yeah, and I almost got in Lake Michigan.
Almost.
Martin, did you see all our bands at Lollapalooza?
All of them.
All of them?
Every single one.
Wow, I'm impressed right now.
Yeah, plus some others. I saw a great set by the Foals. I saw Ghost BC, Tony's favorite band.
Oh, you love Ghost
Yeah,
BC.
well, who wouldn't? I mean, it's,
Yeah, there's a lot to love there.
it's a show.
It's a show.
But Ivy was terrific at the party, the VH1 event, and she played with Emily Sandy. And then Disclosure was, I mean, the toast of the festival and the most anticipated performance.
And they also played this Central Park Summer Stage this week.
I heard that was great too.
Yeah.
Ellie Goulding had the most triumphant, incredible show. The crowd
Yeah.
participation was like the crowd had written the songs. They knew they knew the words that well.
Yeah.
And then what else did I see? I saw Jessie Ware, who had us all two-stepping
Nice.
right in the middle of Grant Park.
She's amazing.
So yeah, it was great.
Did she
Congratulations.
pop in on the
to everybody.
Disclosure set?
Yes.
I know she planned to. Whether she made it over there or not, you had to tell us.
Took my brain a minute to process that question.
And Deep Valley.
I saw D Valley. That's right too. They were great.
They were actually on Spin's 50 Greatest Things at Coachella. Jessie Ware was also on that.
I saw them
So was
after the set
Disclosure.
too.
Oh, they were?
Yeah.
Oh, I missed
Well,
that
all
one.
of us.
Pretty much everybody.
Boom.
Pretty
Yeah,
much everybody.
I think everybody we had there is on that.
Is that- are you impressed with that, Mike?
What's that?
Are you impressed with that?
Absolutely, very much so.
Well,
Thanks for
and
saying that,
speaking of
even if
Ellie,
you're-
How could you not be?
Okay.
Come on.
I just want to remind everybody that Ellie Goulding's Halcyon Days is out August 27th.
Right.
And that is a companion piece to her album Halcyon. So 10 new tracks on that.
10 new tracks, plus it's got all your favorites, Lights.
Right. You can buy it all together, or you can,
Anything
if
can
you own
happen.
everything, you can just go to
It's got
iTunes and buy it separately.
I Need Your Love. It's got
I need
the new one, Burn.
Burn.
It's the perfect holiday gift.
Everybody's loving Burn lately. We
Right.
could see you guys on that one.
Right.
We have a couple albums coming out right after Halcyon. We have Natalia Kills,
Yes, on September 3rd
September 3rd, exclusive to iTunes on September 3rd.
for the first 7 days.
Yeah.
Then it's
Wow.
going wide.
Right, exactly.
Then you can get it at your local favorite store, Tony.
Yep. What's the name of that record now?
Trouble, of course.
It's living
It's kind
up
of a
to its
rhetorical
name.
question. But
That's her middle name,
Good and
actually.
bad.
That's the genesis of that album title. Natalia Trouble.
And of course, Saturday Night and Problem are out right now, so you can get those tracks now, and you can watch those videos.
Yeah, Problem's
now.
got a pretty prominent feature in a movie that's out right now.
Yes.
Yeah, what is it called? Meet
We're
the,
we're the Millers.
We're the Millers.
Right.
that's
We're
it,
the
yeah.
Millers.
Have you seen it?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, it's the part where Jennifer Aniston's character is introduced.
How many times have you seen it?
I
already?
haven't at all. I haven't.
You
but-
like Jennifer Aniston?
Yes, she's very funny.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's great. Her dancing and pretending to be a stripper to Problem.
That's awesome. I can't wait to see that.
Yeah.
So Saturday Night Problem are out. Also, Problem Behind the Scenes debuted this week on Billboard.
Billboard.com.
And I think it's really great. It starts out with her in the bathroom just singing, getting ready to shoot, and there's a lot of interesting things. And if you like to see Natalia, how she acts in real life or behind, when she's not filming the video, this is a really good.
Pretty
sneak
much how
peek.
she acts in videos. How she acts in real life.
A
Pretty
little
much the
bit.
same
A
person.
little bit. She's a little more dramatic on.
But it is
video.
fun to hear her sing Saturday Night. No, yeah, Saturday Night a cappella.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
'Cause I've heard
I
her
think
sing
that's
Problem a
what
cappella too.
everybody's been commenting on.
Yeah, she's got a
on
great
that one.
voice.
Ivy Levon played last night
All right.
at
She'll be playing again.
at Sayers, but she plays again
Yeah.
at Tiger Heat on August 15th. So
Right.
if
Awesome.
if anyone wants to go to that,
Yeah,
you
last
should
night
go.
was crazy.
Tiger
It was
Heat's-
nuts.
That's not the magazine.
That's Tiger Beat.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
Tiger Beat.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah.
Though Tiger Beat should get in on that and do some branding.
If you want more info about Ivy's appearance on Tiger Heat, you can go to cherrytreerecords.com.
Yes. Also, Sting, his album is out.
You heard of him, Mike?
I have.
Have you ever met him, by the way?
I heard he's in a band.
Yeah.
Have you met him ever?
Actually, I have.
I
Yeah.
thought you guys would have met.
Yeah, I got introduced to him by the members of his band.
Right. Right. Cool.
Because we played a show together where we had Stuart and Andy come up and play with us at an Incubus concert. It was just really
Awesome.
fun. And we played Police songs, which was really fun.
Oh my god!
And
Great.
they hadn't played those songs in many years at that point, and they were super happy to like get out and rock in front of a bunch of
Did
people.
they
Sting at
screw
the
up
show?
anything?
No, he wasn't there. But it was just a funny experience getting a phone call from Stuart Copeland saying, "Hey, man, so I hear we might be able to play some songs on stage together. That would be really fun. Like, what songs do you want to play?" I was like, Message in a Bottle, Roxanne. And he was like, "Yeah, I don't know, man. Maybe we could do like,
Canary in a Coal Mine."
He had a few that I was like, "Yeah, how about we do Message in a Bottle and Roxanne?"
Not
And
Miss Gridenko?
he was like, "Okay, no problem." Okay.
I love Miss Gridenko.
So wait, so you met Sting there?
I didn't meet him there. We actually played a concert together in, I want to say it was D.C.
Okay.
A big concert, like a big festival.
Was it after your
It was
jam
af-
with?
it was after that.
Okay, so you told them about that.
So I remember right before the Police were about to go on stage, Stuart and Andy were like, "You want to come over and meet Sting?" And they brought me over to like just say hi to him real quick. And he was really nice.
Yeah.
He was totally sweet. And then
you know what label he records for?
Cherry Tree Records.
Yeah.
Nice.
Hi, Sting on a label.
Okay.
And no, I'd be happy to say that too. So I understand. I
It's
understand.
a little running.
Yeah, I understand
running
that.
narrative that we have here on the morning.
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
We like to remind other labels that they don't have Sting.
Yeah, that's right.
And the funniest part of that show though was that when they played, we had to watch the show from like 500 miles away from the stage, like behind the stage. Like we thought we were gonna get all like hooked up, like they were like, "Yeah, we got a spot for you," or whatever. And it was literally like, you needed
farthest.
binoculars to see the back of the stage.
But wait, weren't you performing at that show as well?
Yeah.
So didn't you have all access passes? You could have just
Yeah. No, I mean they literally.
They
it was
revoked
like
them?
it was like the FBI sealed off
Oh, I
the
got it.
area for like 5 miles,
Right.
and we were allowed at the like 5 mile point. They were like, "Oh, you guys can watch from right here." We were like, "Oh, thanks." I can hear it real good.
We put out a Police release on Cherry Tree a few years ago. We did a live show from Buenos Aires, and we filmed it with like 38 cameras, and it's come out on DVD. It's called Certifiable. It's awesome. So, if you want a closer look.
On Amazon.com.
Yeah, I would like to get a closer look. Actually, I really would, because it sounded pretty heavy. Like.
Yeah, you got to see Stuart's rig on that DVD. It's crazy. There's a gong on stage.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I saw it it was shiny. I could see it. I'm like, but I gotta say though that those guys were, Stuart and Andy as well. Like when we played together, they were so cool. It was so much fun. That was one of the best musical experiences.
So
I think.
you played the guitar. Did you end up doing Message in a Bottle with
Yeah,
them?
we did Message in a Bottle and Roxanne, and then they also played a couple. I can't remember exactly what we did. I thought
Is
maybe
that my mother on the phone? Did they do that one?
Mother?
we had some jamming in the middle of it too. It was like a full on sort of like 10-minute long thing where Stuart like played a drum solo.
Was Andy
and-
on the guitar with you?
Yeah.
Like, okay, so
Yeah.
was there some angular kind
Yeah.
of... Yeah.
Oh, we had some like Iron Maiden dueling guitars.
You
and
went
stuff.
out
It was
and
great.
then went out from there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Out, man.
Yeah, we went to space, came back. It was good.
Do you know how many guitarists it takes to screw in a light bulb? Do you know this one? You don't know this one? Really? You don't want to hear it, do you?
No, let's hear it.
Come on.
It takes 5. 1 to do it and 4 to go, I could have done that. I'm sure you got some other
That's
ones.
good. That's good. That's good. You got good material, Martin. I guess.
Well, we spent the whole
yeah.
week writing it, Mike. All right. What else you got, Andrea?
Well, speaking of Sting, so his album comes out in September
September
24th.
Woo.
But the pre-order goes up on iTunes and Amazon.com on Tuesday, 8/13. It's August 13th.
Yeah.
Probably Monday night-ish, actually. And you'll get to preview some of the tracks.
The album's called The Last Ship.
Right, The Last Ship.
And Tony's just been finishing up our Cherry Tree Radio special,
Yep.
Wow.
which features an interview with Sting.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That was
Exclusive.
fun.
That was good.
It
He was
fun.
nice to you, right?
He's
Right.
fantastic. He's Sting.
Wow. We should interview you about interviewing Sting. That'll be in the third segment.
Not exactly riveting.
So what's it like to interview Sting?
Unaired.
Yeah, the unaired segment.
Oh my God. So also we have one of our newer bands to Cherry Tree, Hudson Taylor, just put out their first EP on Cherry Tree Records called Chasing Rubies, and that is on iTunes right now.
Well, that's a good
Came out
segue.
this week.
Fantastic.
Because Mike has been working with Hudson Taylor.
Really?
Yes, on their new material. We want to hear about that too.
Yes, we will.
Just waiting for you to finish the news, really, and then we.
And
We're front-loading the show,
Our
right?
other new band, The Hunts, their song "Make the Sleep," which can be heard in a Milk-Bone commercial right now, is out next Tuesday, August 13th.
Lots of news. That's a good. Track.
I'll come back to what I forgot later.
Okay, sounds good. Why don't we play "Wake Me Up" by
Yeah,
Avicii,
I think that's an amazing idea.
featuring Aloe Blacc,
Yes.
co-written by Mike.
And then maybe
Einziger,
Hudson Taylor.
who's a guest with us right here on Cherry Tree Radio, Morning Orchard. We'll be right back after this message from Cherry Tree Cola.
Nice lock.
That was The Hunts with "Make the Sleep,"
Yay.
preceded by "Wake Me Up" by Avicii featuring Aloe Blacc, co-written by Mike Einziger, who is our special guest right here on the Morning Orchard. Hi, Mike. How you doing?
Hi, I'm doing very well. How about yourself?
We didn't scare you off after the first segment?
Nah, I've seen way scarier.
Wow. Let me tell you, we're getting down to it on this segment. I want to know a lot.
All
I
right.
want to know a lot. And I
I
want to
got it.
start with this question.
Okay.
Is it true that you used to intern at Interscope Records?
I did.
Wow.
Yeah. I worked at Interscope between the
While
years.
you were in Incubus. Incredible. Touring Brazil, and you were still interning. That's commitment.
for the
That's-
first 2 years that I was on the road, I still was working at Interscope.
Okay. Are you serious?
Wow.
Yeah.
2 years.
Well, I actually started. I wasn't interning. I was actually getting paid.
Right.
And I was
Paid internship.
I was being paid to see bands. So it was more like sort of
That's
A&R.
That's better than getting paid for
A&R
sleeping.
consultant. I thought I was really important too. I was like 20 years old or something, and I was like, I'm an A&R consultant.
That's big.
For Interscope.
Scott
Records.
gets paid to sleep in his office, which is almost as good.
I was going to ask.
Very glamorous.
When you're on the road, how'd you deliver lunch on time?
I wasn't able to make that happen.
He wasn't delivering
That's
lunch.
why I'm not working there anymore. Actually.
Well, that you have that in common with another one of our Cherry Tree acts, Far East Movement. We're also interns.
Oh, really?
At Interscope.
I think after Mike was an intern, though. Mike was an
Yeah.
intern. He was a child prodigy, so he's an intern very young. You were very young when you were
Yeah,
young,
I was
weren't
really
you?
young. I started, I think I was like 16.
Now, are there any funny stories from back then? Like
Tons.
maybe involving, people that would,
People that are sitting at the table right
yeah,
now.
or preferably others, but yeah, this one, this table.
Lots of really
What
funny
about the story
stories.
about the smoothie?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
okay. So you were talking about coffee and how odd sort of musicians can be and demanding with their when they're bossing their interns and assistants and things around. I don't have any assistants or interns, by the way, just so you know. But when I was working for Jimmy,
This is Jimmy Iovine, our chairman of
Yeah.
Interscope F&A&M, of course, and everybody knows him from all sorts of things. But
yeah, he's an amazing guy.
he's all our bosses. He's our boss here.
He's absolutely amazing guy. He really is. He really is.
Oh, this story's gonna be bad. This is wow.
No, now I'm building it up too much. So he asked me for a smoothie, and he told me specifically this is what I want in it. I only wanted I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was like really basic. It was like he didn't want it like a milkshake or something. He wanted it with ice and with strawberries and bananas or something like that.
Reasonable.
Really, really reasonable, right? But it turned out that no place in Westwood Village made that.
Which is where Interscope was based at the time. Yeah.
And I lived down the street from there at the time, and so
Uh-oh.
I remember calling back up to, I think this dude Evan was working with him at
Yeah.
the time, and I called up and I was like, Evan, I can't find he was like, you better find it. he was like, just go find it. And so what I ended up having to do, and this took way longer than it was supposed to, and I was like, I'm screwed right now because this is my big moment right now to get it right, And so I ran around Westwood Village for I went to every food store to try and find what Jimmy was asking me for, and no place would make that. So I ended up going to the supermarket and just buying all the ingredients for it, and then going to Baskin Robbins and bribing the guy behind the counter at Baskin Robbins with like Interscope like swag. I was like, yeah, I could give you some Dr. Dre CDs and Tupac album and whatever. And he was like, all right, cool. And they let me use their blender. And so I went in Baskin Robbins and like made Jimmy smoothie in a blender.
I thought you were gonna say you went to your house.
I didn't have a blender. I didn't have a blender. I would have if I had a blender. I would have gone home and done it.
Okay, so what happened? So this guy made it. He put it in a Baskin Robbins cup.
No, I made it.
You made it.
I made it.
You made it, but did you use the Baskin Robbins cup?
It was just like a white.
Okay,
it was like a white
cup.
styrofoam cup. Okay. So I made, and I was like promising this guy all this stuff, and he was like, "Cool, yeah, whatever." And I ended up coming back and bringing him all these CDs. But I brought Jimmy the smoothie, and I gave it to him, and he was like, "This is perfect." And then he told me that I would do really well in this business because I paid attention to the details.
Yeah, and he was right.
Wow.
That's why he's awesome, by the way. Well, you get to see him now on
so
American
cool.
Idol, and he's, you get sort of short glimpses of him, but he's like that in real life,
The question I have is, did the next day he order the same thing, and the day after?
Well, he told me he told me actually that he used to make John Lennon's tea the same way every time, and he said he would be very careful about it, and that was kind of like the lesson that he was, telling me about in this situation. He was like, you do this the right way every time, and like you just, he was like, you got to pay attention. He wasn't trying to give me a hard time. He was being very endearing with me, and he's been kind of a mentor to me over the years. So it's been really
to all of us. Yeah,
I was just a kid, and he was really encouraging, and he was right. He was right. It was scary. It was scary, like in those moments, but I felt really good, and he totally was like, great job.
We've had so much success in so many different areas, musical areas. From arranging and orchestrating and doing movie soundtracks, and now this humongous hit you have with Avicii. How did well, first maybe tell us a little bit about how you put together Incubus.
Well, Incubus was just a bunch of kids that were kind of bored living out in Calabasas. Me and Brandon and Jose, our singer and drummer, we had all known each other for a very long time, and we all just decided to start a band. We all had similar musical interests, and we hung out together, surfing and skating, and there wasn't really all that much to do where we live, so it gave us something to do. And when we would play, people would kind of show up. We didn't know why. We didn't really.
Good sign.
We didn't really get it, and they'd keep coming. Like we'd play at a party or play at a. There used to be this horrible club out in the valley called Mancini's. Back in, I don't know, people would get shot like right around the corner.
Sounds pretty horrible.
And then there'd be a bunch of like 15-year-old kids like watching a little rock show because it was an all ages club, and it was out in like Canoga Park, and we would go out there and play shows, and we actually, not only were we giving ourselves something to do, but we gave all the other kids in the areas where we live something to do as well. And before we knew it, we were kind of selling out like all these local clubs, and we kind of moved it to Hollywood after it kind of graduated from just being like in the valley and in people's backyards and stuff, and we started playing at the Whiskey and the Roxy, those kind of pay to play things where you go and buy a couple hundred tickets from the promoter at like $1, $2 a ticket. They'd sell you a time slot on like a Thursday night or Friday night or whatever. And for us, it was actually really good. We did really well with it, and we would sell through 400 or 500, 600 tickets.
Wow.
By the end of it, no problem. Like we started doing double nights.
I love how you remember all the details. And you are detail-oriented. Jimmy was right. Yeah. After having toured with Linkin Park and done arenas and, for 20 years.
I remember very clearly how we did it because it was very organized. Yeah. And it was
probably organized it.
It was very methodical. We didn't have email lists or anything like that at the time. It was pre-internet. And so those were the tools we had to work with. And we definitely made the most out of them. so, kind of shortly thereafter, we ended up getting a record deal. We signed with Sony. We didn't sign with Interscope, which to this day is kind of a funny little story.
But it worked out for you.
It worked out okay.
Yeah.
I won't complain. We just started touring pretty much straight away after, I think I was about 19 when we actually signed the deal. And next thing I knew, we were on the road, just opening for lots of different bands and playing all over the world. And everything happened in sort of baby steps, really. There were some big jumps, along the way, but,
Well, you built a humongous, loyal following incrementally.
Yeah.
And you were involved in the writing and the producing. But you also took a few detours along the way, right? You did that incredible Coconut Records album that you produced, right?
Yeah, that was
and
a
then,
lot of
and
fun.
then you went to Harvard?
I did.
So how did you decide to make those little turns along the way?
Well, the Coconut Records album, Night Timing, that was totally unplanned, and to this day also one of my favorite musical experiences. Jason and I had been friends, for a long time before that. This was all the way back in 2007, I believe, or 2000.
Jason Schwartzman, who is Coconut Records.
Yeah, he was in the band Phantom Planet, and we toured together. They opened up for Incubus we did a pretty good long tour with them, opening up for us. And Jason just wanted to play some drums this one night. We were kind of out hanging out, and he was kind of upset about something actually, and he was like, "Can we just go back to your house and play drums?" And because I had a studio, and we went back there and started kind of just recording, and with no idea of what we were trying to do, and we didn't stop for about a week and a half. It took us about 10 days to make that entire record.
Did he stay upset, or did he?
No, he was happy.
Okay.
He was super happy. We had so much fun making that album, and the entire time we were recording it, he kept saying to me, "We're not making an album, right?" I was like, "Yeah, we're definitely not making an album."
Wow, you're a good producer.
That's good.
Yeah, we're definitely not making an album.
Don't worry about it, man. Just another take. Go ahead.
And then and then so we finished it, and he seemed very he was very reluctant to release that music.
Well, I mean, Andrew could probably recite you his whole, film, resume. Yeah, exactly. So
Actually,
he had some other things going on. Right?
Yeah. Well, it was funny. After we finished that album, him and I did this little MySpace thing where he interviewed me about something we had an Incubus record coming out shortly after that actually, and he had, I think, Marie Antoinette or something was coming out. So we were interviewing each other about projects that we were working on, but I wasn't allowed to ask him about Coconut Records. And all I wanted to talk about was that with him, but he was
such a good album.
He was afraid that people were going to judge him. And it actually just speaks to how endearing of a person he is. He doesn't realize how talented he is, especially as a musician. He's one of the most prolific writers I've ever seen.
We at Cherry Tree, we had a privilege of putting out his brother's record.
Oh, okay.
Rooney
Yeah,
put out a record through Cherry
I
Tree.
love Robert,
Yeah,
by the
so
way.
that's a very talented family.
Yeah.
Yes, very.
And so after we finished it, I didn't know if it was going to be released or what was going to happen with it. And then finally, he kind of just sort of quietly decided he was going to put it out on his own. And
Was he like, aha, I knew we were making an album.
it became clear after a little while.
Okay.
He just got his head around it, I guess. And it's
gone everywhere, that record.
Yeah,
Isn't
it's actually while I was at Harvard studying, I would be in the science centers where everybody kind of goes and eats, which is kind of funny because you'd find interesting things happening.
That
in the science
people
center.
at Harvard eat at the Science Center? That doesn't surprise me.
Well, I did anyway. A lot of people do, and it's
Science
just kind of like a
Center / cafeteria.
Yeah, it's kind of this kind of area of the school where you go on your break and you get some food and whatever. It's a place where a lot of people sort of congregate and hang out. And so I'd be in there all the time, every day, and pretty much every day I would hear a Coconut Records song while I was sitting in the cafeteria area. And I would also hear Incubus songs too, not quite as much as Coconut Records, which is funny, which is totally funny. But I'd be sitting there, and then every once in a while I'd hear something, and I'd be like, "Wow, that sounds like a good guitar solo. What is that? Oh, that's me playing. Oh, funny. Yeah, that's funny."
But that was sort of the first step out of Incubus, where you produced something else, right? I mean, or at least
correct.
Yeah.
Yes, that was the first time I'd really. and it was also really it was the first time I'd ever really done anything outside of the band,
Right.
up until that point. Especially something like that, like as in depth as recording and producing an entire album. That was a really fun departure. It was really just, it was such a pleasure to spend that time with Jason and to put those songs together, because they weren't full songs. A couple of them were closer to that, but I mean, we really worked on that material. We really got into it, and I'm to this day I'm really proud of that album.
You should be. It's terrific.
And it was fun because I guess I sort of knew that I could do that. I knew that I was capable of doing that, not just in the band that I was in, but also with other people. But I'd never done it before, so that was like sort of really satisfying.
Plus, those string arrangements are legendary now. You broke one down for me on night timing, and it was really interesting to talk to you about that. It was really cool in the studio.
That wasn't me. That was my alter ego. I have a string
right.
arranger.
What's his name?
A 1970s string arranger alter ego. His name is Sid Goldstein of Fool's Goldstein Records.
Okay.
Fool's Goldstein.
We'll have to have him on the show.
Sid Goldstein is not available for comment right now,
we can't.
but another time he doesn't.
Is there somebody else?
He doesn't
another
speak-
representative?
he
from
doesn't- he doesn't-
Fool's Goldstein's Records.
He doesn't speak to members of the public before 11:30 p.m.
No,
that just
right.
doesn't happen, and he has to be. He only wears certain clothes. I mean, it's like a whole thing. So,
Well, listen. On that note, I think we should play "Night Timing" from the legendary Coconut Records album that Mike produced, and then
of
when you
the same name too.
Of
The
the same
album's
name.
called Night Timing.
When we come back in the third segment, I'd love to ask you about "Wake Me Up" and your role in that, and maybe even play a little excerpt from your tutorial of how to play the guitar.
That's a good idea.
All right.
Which you wrote and arranged on there. You're listening to The Morning Orchard on Cherry Tree Radio. Here's "Night Timing" by Coconut Records. And we're back. You're listening to The Morning Orchard on Cherry Tree Radio, your pop alternative. That was West Coast, preceded by Night Timing, both by Coconut Records, produced by our special guest today, Mike Einziger. Mike, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
We want to get to the bottom of how you wrote the world's biggest song right now, "Wake Me Up." How's the story go?
Your fellow Interscope comrade, Neil Jacobson, sent me an email asking if I'd be, interested in meeting up with Avicii. He just kind of said, hey, he's going to be here in LA for a while, wants to write some new music, and it was funny because I feel like, or at least my recollection of it is that he kind of anticipated that I was going to say no. Like he sort of was like, but you don't have to if you don't, it's fine, and I thought that Levels, his song Levels, Avicii's song Levels was, it doesn't matter what kind of musician you are. It doesn't matter if you're a producer, or if you play in a rock band, or if you like, doesn't matter what kind of music you like. That song is brilliantly put together. It's really kind of a masterpiece in my opinion. And so I just figured based on that alone was, good enough reason to get together with him. And so we met up, and when we met, at first I kind of just didn't really know how it would work, like how we would write music together. I didn't know anything about the way that he puts his music together. But when we kind of started getting into it, it became obvious that we could do something, like I could see what his talents were. He kind of started showing me bits and pieces of songs that he was writing in his computer, and the stuff he was playing for me sounded amazing. I mean, it really sounded great. His eye for the details in the music was really, really specialized. Like he's very meticulous with how he puts his music together, and I liked that. I liked his sense of melody was really good. He kind of noticed every single little thing about what he was playing for me. He would say, yeah, I chose this because of this, or I made the chord progression go this way because I didn't want it to sound like this, or what. He really knew what he was talking about. He understood the mechanics of how the music he was making was working in a way that suggested to me that he and I would be able to get along really well musically. So we just kind of made a plan. Like, all right, next week we're going to get together and just start writing some stuff. And that was the plan. And he came over to my house like that following week, and we just started.
Did you have the guitar in your hand?
I did.
Is that what you usually do when you write? Or
No, not necessarily.
Right.
A lot of times I start off on a piano or a keyboard, or even just like talking about something. Most of the time for me, music happens rhythmically first. A lot of times, it starts with some kind of a beat or a rhythmic idea, some sort of sound or.
So did he bring that to this particular session?
He had his laptop, but what we were doing was just sort of. I have in my studio there are a bunch of sort of pianos and keyboard instruments all over the place. So he was kind of messing around with the keyboards and the piano, and I was sitting there with a guitar. Specifically, he wanted something sort of more folk, something that had folk elements in it, and so I think the guitar was very conducive to that. Obviously, so I started strumming this chord progression, and it was in the vein of how it is now in the song "Wake Me Up."
Did it just come to you, or was it something you'd been developing?
No, it just came.
Wow.
It just started happening right then and there, and it felt like, okay, we're kind of onto something here, and he started responding very positively to it.
Because that progression
really
now,
like
with your feel on the guitar has become kind of iconic. That's how the song starts.
Yeah, he really got excited about that, and so we kind of made some little changes to the chord progression, how the chords like sort of flowed into each other, and the way that they alternate and all of that. We kind of arranged it into verse sections and a chorus, and kind of wrote a bridge, and then he started kind of pulling up some beats on his computer, and then it was like, okay, now the guitar has got this rhythmic, this beat that's going behind it, and it didn't sound to us at that time like, oh, you've got this sort of country-esque sort of chord progression, and I'm hesitant to even call it that because it doesn't really sound that way to me, but that's the way people are taking it, which is interesting. We didn't call it that, we didn't plan for that or anything, but it just is what it is, and it felt like it worked. It felt like it worked really well,
so
actually.
Aloe wasn't in the room at this point?
Aloe wasn't there yet. Aloe was so the next part of the story is that we got to this point where Avicii was like, I gotta go. I got a session with this guy Aloe, and he was like, we're working on a couple other songs together, and I gotta go. But we both were having so much fun, and it felt so good. The energy of the song that up until that point felt really good. So we both just kind of said, why don't we just bring Aloe over here?
Wow.
And let's try and finish this song because this is really good.
Boy, was that a good idea.
Yeah.
And so
Trust
I
your
remember,
instincts.
so we called up Aloe, and I had to sort of give him like directions to get to my house. And he was totally just like, yeah, I'll come over.
So
you know,
cool.
we said, hey, we got this song that feels really good, and the idea is really cool, and it really feels like something special, if you want to come over and sing this. Because Tim and I had also written a bunch of melodies, like the majority of the melodic lines for the vocals. We kind of had a good shape for that already. And so when Aloe walked in, he brought in this little, it was almost like a poem, a bunch of lyrics that he had written, and it was like, oh yeah, wake me up, like the lyrics were really profound.
Was he excited with what you guys had?
See, he seemed very excited about it.
Yeah.
He seemed really excited about it. I was unsure whether or not he would, vibe with it because it sounded.
He's got a great voice. He's a really smart guy too.
And knowing him now, he's very particular about what he likes and what he doesn't like. So I didn't know how he'd react to it. But when he came in, he was like, he just kind of got real quiet, and then he was like, yeah, here, check this out. How about this?
All right, so he was in from the jump.
And then he started singing, and as soon as he started singing, it was like, this is going to work. This is really going to work.
Wow.
Like, his
Exciting.
voice, the unique sort of inflections in his voice, the quality of his voice, the timbre of his voice, everything about it, it just had, it brought the song its identity, it made it, like if somebody else were to sing over it, I don't know that it would be like that. It would be totally different, but it was just the right combination of things. And It
Sounds
felt
like one of those sessions where everybody seems so open to channel whatever magic was happening. Like,
Yeah.
you call him, he comes over, he's got lyrics. It just
yeah,
it sounded like one
it
of these
worked.
things. Yeah,
It just worked.
Sounds
You
like
know,
so much fun. It's exciting.
because when it's not working, it's like it's obvious. I mean, it's obvious. Like when somebody walks in, they're like, "Yeah, I'm not really feeling it," or this isn't. I mean, because that's not that fun.
No.
But all the songs that I've ever been involved with writing that ended up really, I think, connecting with a major audience, or I mean, in a major way with an audience. They all seem to happen like that. They all seem to happen with people being ready for that to happen in some way. And this was definitely one of those situations. And so the song was pretty much done at that time. Maybe some little changes. Aloe laid down all the vocal lines, and we kind of got it to the point where it really felt like a song. It wasn't totally finished, but very close. And then Tim, we kind of dumped it all into his computer, all the stuff we had recorded at my house, and Tim, put it in the order that it's in now, kind of arranged it in the way that he does, with all the beats and the percussive stuff and the synths and everything that he was hearing.
And the filters and
the filters and all that. And then he sent it to me in the morning. I remember it was like 5 o'clock. He didn't go to sleep that night. He just stayed up and kept working.
So excited, yeah.
And I remember waking up at 9 o'clock in the morning or whatever.
Did you hear what you just said?
What was that? I woke up. I woke up at 9 o'clock in the morning, and Tim had sent it to me at 5 a.m. He was like, "Check this out," and it was just awesome. Yeah. It just sounded awesome because we had talked about what he was gonna do. He told me, "Yeah, I'm gonna do some filter sweeps, and I'm gonna make it. We're gonna have it go, verse, chorus, and because it hadn't been all put together that way. It was just sort of in its bare pieces, and so hearing it sort of dressed up and put in order like that was like, oh yeah, this is cool. This is really interesting.
This is an amazing story, and of course, the song is just shot to #1 everywhere in the world. And you put together a little piece online on your YouTube channel that shows how you can play the guitar part in the song.
Yeah.
I wanted to play a piece of the audio from that, if that's okay
Do it.
with you.
That's awesome.
Why don't we play that?
Okay, here we go.
All right.
How to play the song. It's very simple actually, and it's just played very quickly. That's the only sort of complicated thing about it. It's very easy to play though. So anyway, we just have a standard acoustic guitar. I stole this guitar from Hans Zimmer. This is his favorite little Martin guitar. So thanks for the guitar, Hans. I'll bring it back when I'm done. In standard tuning with a capo at the 2nd fret. And there are basically three parts of this song. It's very simple. There's an intro that's the same thing as the chorus. And then there's a verse section, and then the verse section goes into the chorus, and then from there we go to a bridge section where I play a one-note sort of line that repeats itself a bunch of times. And I didn't play that on an acoustic guitar. I played it on an electric 12-string, but I'll just play it on the acoustic so you can see. And I'll just run through the parts so you can see me play it kind of close to full speed, and then I'll explain the chords. So I'm going to play an intro into the verse section, then into the chorus, and then after that I'll play the bridge as well, just so you can see it. So here it goes. The intro into the verse, and then the chorus.
So that's interesting. So you put that together to show everybody how you play the guitar part that you came up with on Wake Me Up. That's so cool.
I started getting a lot of feedback from all over the place. People asking, hey, can you put up a video? Can you show us how to play this song? Because I've not really done that very much in the past. It's something that I should probably do more of, just because I would appreciate.
You'll have to now.
If I when I was growing up, if the songs that I enjoyed listening to, if I could have just pulled up a video of the person who wrote and played those parts, explaining how they did it and telling the stories behind it and all that, I would have really appreciated.
Everybody go
that,
see this. We actually have it up on CharityRecords.com, but you can also see it on your YouTube channel, which is, what's the address to your YouTube channel?
Goodness gracious,
I think it's youtube.com/Mike Einziger.
Yeah, if you just in YouTube just Google Mike Einziger Wake Me Up lesson, it'll show up.
Yeah. Well, Mike, you've been awesome for coming on the show. Thank you so much. I mean,
thank you.
There's so many lessons in what you talked about to aspiring musicians, and we have some of those listening in. Some of your stories are really inspiring.
Right,
thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us.
Thank you.
I think we should hear the song one more time.
Yeah.
Yay,
Yeah,
that's a
for
good
sure.
idea.
Let's
Sounds
do it.
great.
All right, everybody. This has been the Morning Orchard on Cherry Tree Radio. I'm Martin.
Andrea.
Scott.
Tony.
Kelvin.
Mike.
Yes.
Yay.
Thanks for listening to the Morning Orchard podcast, as heard on Cherry Tree Radio and brought to you by Cherry Tree Cola at drinkthemusic.com. You can hear the show live Fridays at 9 a.m. with rebroadcasts Fridays at 6 p.m. and Sundays at 9 a.m. and 6 p.m., all times Pacific, at www.cherrytreeradio.com. You can get more information on Cherry Tree Records and Cherry Tree Radio by clicking over to cherrytreerecords.com, your pop alternative source.